Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Now, I'm sure you've all heard Vaknin and Tudor talk about how the narcissist can never let go of one of their possessions, one of their objects. And you can read that in comments at this channel and pretty much every other channel. People have been free, no contact, 5, 10, 20 years, 20 plus years. And guess what? The creeps come back. And I want to talk about that today. Often in the comments, friends here at the channel will leave statements that start out by saying, in retrospect, when I look back, when I think about this thing that the narc said to me, the narc is leaving hints. They are dropping little bombs. Unfortunately, in the state of confusion, quite often we overlook these little bits of information, often all telling of what has been, what is, and what is to come. Now, I remember one day sitting with Trevor. I'd been at work. He'd been at work that day. And when we got home, he said to me, "Oh, I ran into so-and-so today. Let's call this so-and-so Amy." So he ran into Amy. And I knew that he had had a fleeting relationship with Amy many years prior, like maybe 10 years prior, but prior to the moment we were in right then. Now, he goes on to say, I ran into Amy at the hardware store, and she was with her new boyfriend. She introduced me to him, but, I wasn't mad. I wasn't jealous. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, that's weird. It was one of those red flag moments where the flagpole hit me in the head. And I thought, what did I just hear? Did he just tell me that he somehow feels like he would have the right to feel jealous or angry or mad about this person that he had had a fleeting sexual relationship, a relationship with no depth, no merit, nothing. It was a fleeting sexual moment. And now, all these years later, he saw a possibility to have been angry or jealous. I just found it to be so bizarre. But now, of course, this is one of those moments where you look back and think, oh my God, that was all telling. I mean, truly telling of that possession aspect, that true belief in these crazy thinking creatures that once they have exploited you through sexual vampirism, through, entrapment, that they truly do believe that forever they have some right to you, some connection to you. I think they really believe they create soul bonds, soul ties that can never be broken. So here I am, 5 years into the relationship from hell. We're sitting in his house of pain. I've been trying frantically to save this disgusting nightmare of a relationship with this horrible, rotten man. And just very casually, he tells me this bizarre story. Now, at the time, I had no idea what it meant, but I will tell you, it stopped me dead in my tracks, and I was kind of locked onto that. And I'll tell you, for about 3 or 4 days, thinking, what the hell did he just say? It was as if he was kind of trying to use me as a sounding board to talk himself out of becoming jealous or angry. Like he somehow had the right to be jealous or angry 10 years after the fact that this woman from his fleeting relationship is now with someone, and he needed to ponder that for a moment. It was absolutely bizarre beyond belief. I think that single statement that Trevor made sums up more than anything else he did the reality that anyone that had been in his life, even if they were just passing through real quick, was, in his mind, truly a possession. Supply is kind of a funny thing. Like, we all know the narcs need supply. It certainly is their drug. But supply is not dependent on the type of supply. Supply is dependent on the person they're extracting the supply from. For example, if someone they consider to be not of high social standing, not of importance, just kind of emergency supply. It wouldn't matter if this person was on bended knees worshiping them. The supply will still be low grade because the source of the supply is not one of great admiration in their eyes. They're constantly looking for someone that they find to be very superior to them, because in their minds, a superior person provides superior supply. So even if you're a superior person, but you're providing them with negative supply, it's still good supply because the source in their mind is fabulous. Now, if you're lower on their totem pole, but providing what would appear to be a lot of admiration, a lot of, respect, a lot of worshiping, it's still not going to be good supply because in their mind, the source is not good. The quality of the supply is always going to be directly even with the source of the supply. Even bad supply coming from someone they perceive as superior is much higher grade supply than admiration, respect, worshiping supply from someone lower on the totem pole. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. I hope you guys understand the point I'm trying to make. The more superior they see you as, the more they need to destroy you. Now, people often ask, well, shit, they've had this idiot narc harem member for 20 years. Why aren't they destroying them? Well, the reason for that is because they're low on the totem pole. They're like emergency supply, quickie sex supply, low grade supply. And so there's no need to diminish them because they're not elevated in their mind. It's when they truly see you as a superior person, when in their mind you're an elevated entity, that's what they need to destroy. They don't need to diminish the diminished. They need to destroy entities, people that they see as superior. So the higher they rank you as a supply source, the more abuse you're going to get. They truly need to crush, diminish, destroy, kill, if possible, the highest sources of supply. So understanding this now, it's no surprise to me that Trevor made such a desperate effort to destroy my life. Now, sometimes people will leave comments, things like, he'd been so abusive to me, and then he just vanished, and I never heard from him again. And sometimes I'll leave a comment under that saying, just give it a minute. If you had been horribly abused, that's because you were seen as a superior source of supply, so you would have experienced higher levels of abuse. Now, just because your narc is dormant doesn't mean they've forgotten about you, because I'm here to tell you, they never, and I mean never let go of that belief that you belong to them, that soul tie that they believe they've inflicted you with is never going to break. And just because you don't actively see the creature doesn't mean it's not watching you, stalking you, following up on you very regularly. No, it's not sitting there missing you. It is sitting there obsessing over you. It is created in its mind this illusion, this insanity that you are part of its possession bank, part of its collection of souls, and you will forever be that. There is no way to break that in their minds. When you consider that ghosting, silence, is a very active form of abuse to them, I mean, nothing's happening on your end, but to them, this silence is very active abuse. Just because you're not feeling the abuse doesn't mean it's still not there. This is what gives victims so much power, in regards to the final discard. You control the discard because they can never let go. So utilize your power. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you guys are having a great narc-free day.